Hello, my name is Susanna McDonald. I'm a pattern designer, relief printmaker, and artist, and I'm coming to you from my Boston, Massachusetts studio that I call the Lino Cave. Today I want to teach you about how to transfer onto one of my favorite carving matrices, Speedball Speedy Carve, using a printout from an inkjet printer or a laser printer and an iron. This creates a permanent transfer that doesn't smear while carving, and it's really great. The reason why I like it so much is I create very complex designs that often involve a long carve. As you can see, it's really important to me that when I transfer the designs on, that they remain permanent on the block so that as I'm carving, they do not smear. If I tried to carve these using a pencil transfer method, which is very easy and effective, but does smear, it would be really, really difficult for me to achieve good results. This is the design that I have chosen to use to demonstrate today how to do this method. As you can see, I've taken care with my drawing to color in darkly and richly and evenly to make sure that when I do photocopy, that the photocopy is nice and dark and rich so that when I transfer it, I can see it well when I'm carving it. You can use both an inkjet and a laser printer. I've taught this to many students, and the feedback that I've received is that inkjet is a little bit more fickle. Personally, I use a laser printer, and I get very consistent results with that. With inkjet, you have to take a little bit more care. You need to ensure that your printer is not set to any ink saving or eco modes, and that whatever you print out is fully saturated. So playing around with those settings is important when doing this method with an inkjet printer. With a laser, I've not encountered many issues. I do, however, turn up the saturation and the density on my laser printer to make it as dark as possible to get the best transfer that I can. So, to demonstrate how to do it, first, the important part is setting your iron to the correct temperature. Speedball Speedy Carve is a synthetic product, so therefore I set my iron to the synthetic setting. I put it just slightly above the single dot because I have 1, 2, 3 dots, as many irons do. Because if it's too cold, the transfer won't happen. And if it's too hot, you can melt and burn the Speedy Carve. So to get started, we're going to take our photocopy. I've photocopied this. I am not cutting this out. If I were to cut this out and then attempt to iron it, the iron would go off the edge onto the Speedy Carve and it would melt or burn it. We want this paper here to protect the Speedy Carve. If I had a large dark strip, which sometimes you get with photocopies, I would trim that off. This method is also perfect for digitally created artwork. If you create it on something like Procreate or Illustrator, you can then print it out and it will be absolutely perfect and you won't have to worry about coloring in. So it's a great option for those of you who create digitally. First thing I want to do is I want to flip my paper over and I want to just make sure that I have it properly positioned on my piece of Speedy Carve. So I just check that I have a little room for error and that it's placed down. I have my iron set to just slightly above synthetic. This is just something that you might have to play around with to get the exact right temperature on your iron. If it's not transferring and not sticking, you'll have to turn it up a little bit more. The other important thing is to turn the steam off. You don't want steam coming through and wetting the paper because then it will stick to the Speedy Carve. So I just slowly start ironing. This method is not faster than a pencil transfer method. This does take time and a bit of patience because it does take a little while for you to get the temperature perfect and for the entire image to transfer. You really want to rotate your iron around in all different directions to ensure that you get each spot on your artwork fully transferred, because your iron will have different hot spots. So you want to go around, and once you see it start to sort of stick to the Speedy Carve, you'll know that the transfer is working. And then again, it's important to rotate because every iron has different hot spots. And so you want to make sure that you've gotten it. So what you can do is when you think that you've made some pretty good progress and that most of it's stuck, you can peel up a corner. And actually this corner has transferred pretty well. Let's see this corner. I'm missing a spot over here, so I've got to keep going, and I'm missing some spots over here. So this side definitely needs some attention. You keep going doing that until the entire image is transferred. Okay, so it has taken me quite a few passes to make sure that I got most of this, all of this transferred. And now for the reveal peel. Peel back our paper and see that with a little patience, this has transferred quite nicely onto here. This remains hot, so this is not a great time to experiment with finding out whether it smears or not. I promise you it doesn't, because the surface of this is still hot, so it's a great time to let it cool off, you know, go and do something else, and come back and start carving it once it's fully cool. Just a couple of tips. If you have an image that's kind of large on your paper and you need extra protection for your Speedy Carve, you should just use plain white printer paper to protect your Speedy Carve. That way you won't accidentally burn it. And just make sure that your iron is not too hot, because I have definitely used a really hot iron and blistered and bubbled the Speedy Carve even through the paper. So just take care to very gradually adjust your settings if it's not quite warm enough, but don't go too extreme. I hope that you enjoyed learning about this technique as much as I enjoy using it. It really, really is a game changer, and it helps so much with those long carves. This will be one of them, and ensuring that I can see what I'm carving so that I can get a really great carve. Happy printing, everybody.